I went through.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is June 1st. Hard to believe that we are here at the close of the school year. It is our Board of School Directors Academic Affairs meeting. And as always, we have lots to talk about of things that are happening in our schools or frameworks or information that surrounds our schools. So without any further ado, here at 4:02, we want to get started. Today's agenda wouldn't be complete this year in the spring without some more conversation about our district calendar for the coming school year. So Dr. Yannicka will talk about, oh my goodness, look at that. I want to talk a little bit about the PDE Seal of Biliteracy and a request from our team to our board. We're going to talk about the Linkit Data Warehouse contract as we do every year, K-12 handbooks, Code of Conduct is here, which is why Dr. Lutz is joining us. And certainly we will wrap up our time with some public comment, should there be any. But before we do, I think we would be remiss to not recognize our two student representatives. Gus William May is here with us today. I am sure Jordana will join us if she is able. They have been fantastic to have as a member of our team, and we got the opportunity, as you all recall, to recognize their contributions at our most recent board meeting. But this is their last meeting with us today in academic affairs as they get ready for their senior year. And so it's a lot to ask students who are also athletes and involved in lots of extracurricular activities to come sit and share their perspective, not only here, but at our monthly advisory sessions as a part of that work, and then any other ongoing opportunities to give feedback or weigh in. And yet Jordana and Gus have shown up regularly and consistently throughout the year on some complicated topics. And so I just want to publicly thank you all for your contributions. Gus, any takeaways from your experience of being with us this year that you'll take with you?
I mean, I was definitely very nervous the first meeting, but no, it's been a great opportunity, and thanks for having me, everybody.
Can I
We are thankful
chime
for
in on
you.
that?
Of course.
Gus, I distinctly remember early in my time on this committee that you asked a question and I was like, I'm so glad you asked that. I was afraid to ask it. And just great questions that you ask. And it's been a real pleasure and reinforces my faith in the school district that the kids are so bright and involved. So thanks.
Yeah, that's very nice to hear. It's been a pleasure for me as well.
Yeah, it makes all the difference for us. We didn't always have student voices, and so many of the things that we're talking about, either directly or sort of adjacent in an adjacent kind of way, are certainly related and informed by the student experience. And so I have been grateful for the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better this year, but also for the contribution. So thanks again. Any other comments, or Dr. Yannicka, anything you wanted to add?
I just
Dr. Aberly, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I just had one comment, and I think it really shows the spirit and the testament of the school district. Gus was in the same grade as Dylan. I think it must have either been kindergarten or first grade. So it's always really first grade. There we go. So it's always really touching to see the students progress, grow up, be really thoughtful and contributing to the school community. So I found that quite touching, to be honest. And, it's just so nice how paths always cross within the school district and the community. So yeah, it was really nice to have that interaction.
Thanks, Dr. Aberly. Dr. Yannicka, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Not at all. I wanted to give Dr. Aberly an opportunity, but I absolutely echo everything that's already been said. Gus and Jordana have been wonderful additions to this committee, as have all of our student representatives that you have displayed there on the screen. And we're very grateful to the board for being welcoming to our student voices. So thank you.
Much appreciated. And I can't wait to hear about sort of what senior year brings for you. And we are all still here, so we look forward to you sharing with us any insight or lessons learned that may be helpful as we bring on 2 new student representatives for next year. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Yannicka, who would like to have a conversation about a proposed tiny little shift on our district calendar. Dr. Yannicone?
Yes, every time we think that we're done, we find out that we're not. But that's okay because we can always bring the calendar back to all of you. So after having all the calendars approved, we learned that there was a conflict next spring with Passover, which we had this year. We were able to make meal adjustments for the students involved, as it was the fourth or fifth day of Passover, as I recall. But we can and have the time to reschedule the prom. To our surprise, our prom location was able, they had an open date for us on April 30th. And so in moving the prom to April 30th, we wanted to move the half day, which on the currently approved calendar is the 23rd of April. We'd like to move it to the 30th. That just makes the most sense for us from a student friendly perspective, that they have a half day on the day that they're going to the prom. So it's one change. It's moving Friday, April 23rd from a half day to a full day, and Friday, April 30th from a full day to a half day. So I would entertain any conversation from the board or feedback on whether you're comfortable with us making this change. If you're comfortable, we will add this amendment to the calendar for the June 16th board meeting and make sure that our students and families know that there will not be a conflict in holding a full day of school on the day of prom. Ms.
True
Bell?
spirit of this process, before I have Mrs. Bell speak, I did already recognize that we did not change the text at the bottom, so I'm fixing that in real time. I can't change it in our slideshow where it says the 23rd is early dismissal. You'll see that word. I'm fixing it now on the real version.
Thank you. Eileen, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, because as a Jewish person, I never even thought to compare holidays on our calendars. It never, I mean, now that you say that, now it's like, uh-oh, now I need to go back and look. But thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Prom, it's the meals for prom. We had a conversation with our JAG students last fall. The challenge we had at the time was that the location, the Fuge, did not have an alternate date available to us because of when we reached out. So we were able to proactively look at it this year, and they did have an alternate date. So moving forward to subsequent years, we are working to make sure that Passover does not conflict with the day of the prom.
Makes complete sense.
Okay, so we'll move that forward to June 16th. Thanks, everybody.
Dr. Yannicone, I'll update the PDF before it goes to the full board with the correct text at the bottom, okay? It's already done, but I'll reprint it for you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Of course. All right. Unless there's more about the calendars, because, you know, why not? One of the things I wanted to bring all of you is a recommendation from members of our high school team around the PA seal of biliteracy. And Dr. Lutz and I laugh a little because we've been talking about this at least for 3 years, off and on, about bringing this forward. And then it's never quite resonated. It's never quite made sense, or it's never quite worked for us. But this year we had a lot of enthusiasm, in part because, which I'll talk about what it is in a second, there were some students who are eligible and they really wanted their contributions and their achievements recognized by the school district. And so the opportunity came together that we had faculty who were motivated, students who were interested, and agreement to bring this forward. And so the seal of biliteracy recognizes those who demonstrate intermediate to high proficiency in English and at least one other language. In 2022, it was brought to Pennsylvania. In an interesting turn of events, we were not at the forefront of this. We were the 46th of 50 states to adopt this seal into our work. But since that time, we are now up to 49 Pennsylvania school districts, including 82 high schools, who have awarded this seal of biliteracy to their students. And so last year, they awarded it to 706 students across the Commonwealth. And so the seal of biliteracy in Pennsylvania it is become this opportunity to bring together sort of support of and thoughts about multilingual learners and those who are biliterate or multilingual and their contributions to our global society. And certainly as a school district to identify sort of global citizenship as an outcome of our profile of a graduate, it is directly aligned with what we want to achieve. Additionally, lots of people on their resumes, for anybody who looks at resumes for people will comment like, oh, I'm proficient in blank. But without a measuring stick about who that is, anyone can say they're proficient. This requires and affirms what proficiency looks like, and identifies particular criteria that students were able to meet in both English and at least one other language. And so students must demonstrate that proficiency in lots of different ways, and they're going to show that eligibility in English and a language in 3 different ways, right? Understanding sort of the receptive skills of what's heard or read, or if they're using sign language, signed. The interpersonal, exchanging sort of that less context, it's not so formal, being able to have a conversation or dialogue in that language. And then being able to speak, write, or sign the information and present information in that language. And so for students to earn this seal, Pennsylvania allows school districts to create versions of the eligibility that aligns to their students and their communities in ways that make sense. And so our high school committee spent some time looking at this and determined that for us, much in alignment with what the state was recommending, that students, in order to demonstrate proficiency in English, would either score proficient or advanced in the Keystone exam. They'd get a 3 or above on the AP, one of the AP English exams, or they'd have a WIDA access score of 4.5 or higher. So that is the way that that's demonstrated, and that assesses those 3 components of English. And in comparison, for world language proficiency, there are options on how to demonstrate that proficiency. You can earn an AP score of 4 or better. There's alternate assessments where we can have it assessed when there's not an AP test that's aligned, for example, in American Sign Language, using that. Recently, we had Japanese come up as an issue. We can contract to have a proficiency exam administered by an independent individual. Or if students are native speakers of another language other than English and come to our schools, we can look at their school transcripts or look at a portfolio for demonstration of this proficiency in that world language. Obviously, one of the things that's always important to school boards and communities is what's this going to cost us? In our example, it's mostly negligible, right? Because this English exam, both the WIDA exam and the Keystone Literature, are at no cost to families or students. They are absorbed by the Commonwealth. We provide, as a school district, we've made the decision, as all of you as board members, to commit to providing AP exams at no cost. And so as a result of that, what we're recommending is that we would pay for proficiency exams to be assessed in the event that it's not an AP exam. And on average, those cost between $25 to $50 per person. In comparison, AP tests are about $100 per person per test. So this is a half the price. So to me, it's aligned to and akin to what's happening with our AP tests. And then the other costs we would pick up are those related to any awards, if we choose to give medals or other recognition, once the high school administration has had a chance to determine what that they want that to look like, and then present that information. And so ultimately, if this group of people are agreeable, we would bring it to the full board for a vote. That's clearest because this is not required from Pennsylvania. It is allowable and encouraged, and they have been out trying to get higher levels of engagement every year. And so we would like to bring it forward to the board in order to confirm commitment, adoption of this criteria, the policies, and agreement to the idea of this award and the transcript. We actually have 6 applicants of our current senior class, 4 of whom are awaiting AP scores to determine their eligibility. It would include, if we decided to do this, it would recognize it through a award seal to those graduates. There would be a note on their transcript. And for those who have not yet gotten their AP scores, which is those 4 individuals, we would indicate on any transcript we released, until those scores become live in July, that the student is a candidate for the PA seal of biliteracy. And then we would update their diploma with the PA seal once approved. And so assuming this is something that's agreeable to this team, we would then continue this process. This spring, we started this outreach with the senior class when we were really pushed by some of them to be more, let's see, proactive and recognize their achievements. And it was encouraged to us by some of the students that given that there's a number of them who do demonstrate this proficiency, both in their home language and then in English, that to not recognize it doesn't really align to our profile of a graduate. And they said it very politely, as you might imagine, but they were sort of calling it out. And I thought I always appreciate student advocacy, and they were right. It's great for colleges to see it and the workplace and to have that measure of proficiency. And in a world that's increasingly got opportunities, we can recognize multilingualism and bilingualism as a strength and an additive and something to celebrate. And so if we continue this process, we would begin the outreach to students who are juniors and seniors over this summer, because we'll have the Keystone scores, which would tell us if they were eligible under the English component. WIDA scores also will be out, and then we can start to reach out to the students throughout the fall and do an information session, educating both juniors and seniors about what's required in order to be eligible. And then next year, our intent would be to provide a presentation at the Senior Awards as a part of recognizing students for the, or in some other format for their achievements. What questions can I answer? Lee?
I was really pleased to see that it includes ASL. Do we have opportunities for students to learn ASL at school?
Great question. We've had students who come from deaf families, so they've learned, obviously are native users of ASL. In other cases, we've had students do it as a part of their virtual high school classes. That program is no longer operating next year, so we are creating some workarounds for students to be able to sustain enrollment in other world language programs outside of the 3 that we offer in the high school.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Katie?
Hi. I think at the beginning you mentioned like this didn't align somehow with us in the first couple of years, or we couldn't do it in the first couple of years.
We just didn't take it on.
Okay, well, kudos to the students for raising it, and kudos to you for meeting the charge. I just want to say this is a great program. The folks that I know who do this work with students too, also just like it's really important recognizing students who are multilingual, not as having that be a disadvantage, but an advantage and something they bring to the table. So right on.
Thank you. Mrs. Bell?
I just want to say, like, I agree, like, way to go for those students who can do that, because I'm not sure most of us, probably me, are literate in one language. So to do it in more than one, it really just is amazing to me.
Thanks. Any concerns about bringing this forward to a full vote on the 16th? And recognizing the members of the senior class who are eligible this year?
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. One thing that I would be interested in is once this is up and running, is seeing the diversity of the languages. I think that would be a really interesting metric to observe.
4 of them are in Spanish and 2 of them are in Japanese.
Okay. Wow, Japanese.
This year, right? I'll be able to tell you every other year.
Yeah, no, it'd be,
for now.
So once it gets going, it'd be interesting to see that. That might be a really good selling point.
Well, and I think that's exactly it, right? Like, how do we continue to excite students? You know, they love a good banner and medal and sash around their graduation regalia, if you will. And so I think it's another opportunity to celebrate sort of our profile of a graduate in real, measurable, quantifiable ways that we can talk about. So to me, that's the reason to prioritize it. We really didn't know that we had that many students who were eligible. And so we did a survey to find out. And then we were all sort of like, oh, I guess it is a need and we need to do it now. So there was a lot of it. Once we got moved, like anything else, once you start something moving, it's just a matter of putting it at the top of the pile. Everybody was on board once we got going. Any other questions for me or concerns? I appreciate the support. as I do every year, I'm back to talk about my favorite product, our data warehouse, Linkit. I try to every year learn a little bit more clarity so that I can share it with you. I remind you that Linkit is a product that we use K-12 in every facet of our instructional program because it holds and manages our data analytics. So the reports I bring you every fall with our team on student performance come right out of Linkit, where I'm able to sort of pull the data together, compare it year to year, compare cohorts. And so that's the way in which we can track students additionally over time in terms of their educational performance. We can load a variety of data, including attendance and behavior. There's all kinds of things that we have added over the years, and so that's been really helpful. Dr. Lutz leans heavily into the Act 158. We talked about the pathways towards graduation. That's the system that we use to account for those pathways. And so next year, we are looking to purchase the same services we always have with one new addition. They are adding an AI support tool. It's called Navi, just because it's cute, which allows key staff members, so at this point, district administrators, to use AI tools to help pull data that we're looking for instead of what I like to call the hunt and peck, right? Let me think about how I want to do this. The Navi is able to be a coach on the side to assist administrators at this time. We can make it available to faculty. We just have not yet. We want to figure out how it works first before we launch it more broadly. So for those who I know are going to ask me, our total projected cost for this coming year are $47,074.60, which is an increase of $2,490.71 from last year. And so my request is that we move this forward to a board motion on the 16th.
So I have a question just about how the IT department are ensuring that these data are well protected and secure.
Sure. I think that one of the things that's really helpful is that we work with them very closely in terms of the privacy and the security. So we have signed agreements with them around student data and student privacy. We continue ongoing professional learning on our end about what we're putting there and why. And so that's the most clear pieces. We have a direct line with them to upload information, and some of the products directly load information. We take our benchmark assessments now in Linkit, where we used to do it in Renaissance. We now do it in Linkit, and that's right on their own portal. Does that help?
Yeah, no, I think so. Just because obviously it's like a very hot topic, cybersecurity around like where personal information is stored, that obviously relates back to, in this case, students. Because I think we obviously had, there's so many apps. I can't remember if it was PowerSchool or Schoology. There was that issue. So just, 100%. I suspect that, certainly members of the community would be interested just to make sure that, we've got everything squared away in terms of cybersecurity.
Dr. Aberle, I appreciate you raising that concern. As we did when PowerSchool had their national issue, we were not affected as a district because of the cybersecurity measures that we have in place and require of every technology software vendor with whom we work. And that is true for Linkit as well. So they have to meet a very high standard to be able to be linked, no pun intended, to our system. And Linkit does meet those requirements.
Awesome. Thank you.
Additionally, we only have one person in the school district who directly uploads data. It goes right to their data analyst, and that person is who loads it into their system. So while we internally have visibility, no one else is adding information into the portal to be able to load it. It is one person on our end and one person on their end.
Okay, thanks.
And Dr. Yannicka, it's not actually about Linkit, I guess, but to clarify what you just said, we do have PowerSchool though. So what do we have, like some part of PowerSchool we weren't using, or what?
We do. The upload and requirements, without having a technology person here in the room, the technology requirements that we have and the upload that we have did not include elements that impacted other communities with I'll say different standards.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
And I think and wasn't it the case that we weren't using all of the functionality of PowerSchool, so it didn't have all of like the payroll type information in there?
Right. There are elements of the program that we have chosen not to use for a variety of reasons. And so we were not impacted at all, much the same as we were not impacted by the issues with Canva, for example.
Canvas.
Canvas, thank you.
I think I just want to be clear. We don't enter staff social security numbers, for example, into that system. So, or student social security numbers. And so as a result, that's one of the choices we have to protect student information.
So we use it as data warehouse. You said attendance.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. Are you talking about PowerSchool or Lincoln?
I'm sorry. I'm back to Lincoln.
Okay. Lincoln doesn't do our attendance. We upload attendance reports so that we can look at student attendance overall or as a part of our referral and tier-based interventions when needed.
Okay. So it's an MTSS support as well. Okay. And how long have this district been working with Lincoln?
8 years.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions I can answer? Okay. I will add that as a second motion to the board meeting coming out of today. And last but not least, Dr. Lutz, I'm going to turn it over to you. You let me know when you'd like me to click slide advance, and I got you.
Sure. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I'm here to talk a little bit about our K through 12 student handbooks for next school year. Every year, the administrative team gets together to talk about some changes. So if you can advance to the next slide, please. On here, we have our proposed handbooks for you to review. We did some really heavy work with the handbooks last year, so we're pleased that there's really no substantive changes for the handbooks this year. The high school has added some language around prohibiting food deliveries and the use of technologies to record audio and video. And then in addition, we have updated our attendance policies and procedures to align with the latest updates that were provided by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. That includes increased notifications for families and opportunities to meet and plan with the school to help families with increased school attendance if students become habitually truant after 6 unexcused absences. These handbooks have actually already been reviewed by our legal counsel and are now ready for your approval. And then on the next slide, we have our K through 12 code of conduct for this school year. Again, no changes to the code of conduct. Last year's changes have really yielded some clarity for students, families, and staff. We had a November 2025 family information session titled Understanding the Code of Conduct, and that did help provide families with some additional information. It is available for viewing on our website if you ever have burning questions about the K through 12 Code of Conduct. Any questions about the handbook or the Code of Conduct?
Yeah, I've got more of a comment. I could get in the middle school one and the code of conduct, but I couldn't access any of the others.
I believe I updated that last evening so that everybody should be able to get on.
I'm checking now, Michelle.
Yeah,
Dr.
I think it's only from, I was going to say, I'm sorry. I believe it's only from your Springfield address.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to change it to all other viewers, Michelle.
Gotcha. Thank you.
That's why. I'm just taking care of it now, Dr. Aberly.
Thank you.
If you're in your school district email, you could access it.
Okay. All right.
But I'm fixing it so anyone
I can access. Yeah, I can access the middle school one no matter where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And that, I don't know if that's because I have a middle schooler. I'm not sure. I did have one question on the code of conduct. If you've got a second, and it was to do with forgery, alteration of grades, excuse notes, or school documents. Excuse notes. Yeah, because we're using obviously an electronic portal or an app to do that now, the relevancy of a signature probably goes away. So I don't know if we need to bolster anything around, excuse notes, right? Because at the moment we're using school messenger to do that. So in theory, it would be relatively easy for a kid that has access to their parents' iPhone to go in and submit an excuse note.
That is true. We've actually dealt with that before, where students were getting into their parents' emails, and so to speak, forging notes. So, but we deal with that as like a forgery of an email.
Okay.
So it just, it depends on the grade and the consequence.
Okay.
Back in my day,
I mean, they can be too smart for their own good, right? So it was more like the relevancy of a signature kind of has gone away in more recent times, right? So I don't know if we need some different language in there, but if it's captured somewhere else, then that's fine.
Any other questions for Dr. Lutz about the handbooks or the code of conduct? I did put links to the handbooks in each in the chat, just to make it a little bit easier in case you didn't get a chance to click on them in advance. And code of conduct as well. Any other questions? And okay to proceed with board motions on these items as well for approval.
can I suggest just if it's possible, when we have like really big documents like this, I would find it really helpful if we could just get like a summary of like what's different in this new version compared to the old, like, because I assume like whatever has already been there, like a board has looked at it and said is okay. I mean, like it doesn't have to be line by line, but like briefly, is there a new section? Has something been revised? I would appreciate being able to put attention on that.
Unless I miss my guess, the primary change that we had was at the high school. And that's around food delivery services. Correct. And letting our angelic staff and students know that that's not a thing.
Correct. Yes,
it's
that.
Finding it, and I will open it for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip right past it. Dr. Lutz, can you remind me where it is?
It's down under food services.
Under food services.
I think it's almost
there.
There it is.
There it is, food delivery. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, other than a typo here or a comma there, this is the only real substantive change since last year's big change.
Correct. The only other thing is we've changed a couple of day notifications over on the attendance side. So like we went from 4 days to 3 days just to align with the law. Those are the only changes.
Dr. Lutz, I also want to, I'm sorry, Dr. Johnson. I want for the good of the board, because we have several newer board members here who haven't been through the handbook process before. So a number of years ago, we went through a full policy review that took several years. And as those policies were updated and aligned to state law and code of, Pennsylvania state code, Dr. Lutz updated all of the handbooks at that time, and then provided a universal code of conduct that you saw in the one slide there linked. Every year, if policies are updated at any of those committee meetings, once they're board approved, she then works with the building principals to revise the handbooks to make sure that they remain aligned to state code as well as state law.
So it's living document.
Exactly. And then the other thing that we've done is create digital versions of all of these handbooks that some time ago were hard copies of handbooks, because one of the requirements is that families have the opportunity to review the handbook at the start of each school year. And over the summer, if the state of Pennsylvania makes any changes, for example, if the state of Pennsylvania votes this summer for a bell-to-bell cell phone ban at the high school level, because we already have that at the K-8 level, we will need to amend our handbook and board policy. So that would happen in August, and then we would amend the handbooks digitally and alert the community that there's a change to the handbook, because that would be substantive. But if they're minor changes, we really just follow our policy process, where once it's board approved, then it goes into the handbook. Dr. Lutz, is there anything that I missed about the process you follow with the principals and continually revising these handbooks?
Yep, great summary.
Yeah. So to your point, KD, it's our responsibility to ensure that at all times the handbooks are aligned to state law and Pennsylvania state code.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Additionally,
board
Dr.
policy.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
You took a breath, so I thought you were done. And additionally, I think Dr. Lutz said this, is that legal reviews it. And so we got, not to worry, we get lots of feedback from the solicitors to make sure that it's clear and deliberately enforceable.
I'm not worried.
No, I just thought it was important for the
worried.
board to know in general, like, there's like, before you've ever seen it, all that has already happened, and what we're presenting and then having approved. This is the first time we've brought them in the spring. In the past, we've waited and brought them in August. But we were trying to consider maybe not having academic affairs in an August meeting. And to do that, this has to happen now.
Do we require acknowledgement of these?
Dr. Lutz?
So we do, we send these out, and there is a PowerSchool function where people can acknowledge the handbooks. Typically we get about 50% of families who click that box and provide their other updates along with other acknowledgements of policies and procedures that we send out.
Yeah, I didn't remember anything mandatory, but yeah, okay.
Yes. The code of conduct is still mandatory, whether parents agree or not.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Dr. Lutz? All right. Thanks, Dr. Lutz.
Thank you.
Any final comments or questions from the committee before we wrap up this evening?
No, I'm just surprised that students get Uber Eats and DoorDash show up at school. It blows my mind.
Oh, Dr. Aberly, the stories we could tell.
There must be some
very
really
creative, those
students that didn't bring lunch that get very disappointed.
Lunch, breakfast, snack,
Starbucks,
all of it. You just can't even believe how creative they are. Gus, you want to weigh in anywhere in this?
Well, I've seen people in the middle of sports games step off the field to pick up like a chicken sandwich, stuff like that. But
that I did not know. All right, that's a new one.
But does that apply to faculty as well, or is that just students?
It applies to students. Faculty can have food delivered at any time to the front door and to security.
Okay.
That's part of the challenge, is the students' workarounds of the multiple doors, and so it becomes a safety issue. Great question, though. Any other comments or reactions as we wrap up? A note of thanks and gratitude to all of you as committee members. I've asked a lot of you, as has our team, to really engage and digest a lot of things that we are trying to do as we continue to move forward. Sometimes these meetings are long, it's dense, there's a lot of information to share, but I appreciate the engagement and the authentic sort of helping us be our best by responding and offering insight, not only as parents and community members, and also as board members. And so this is my sort of end of the year gratitude, and thank you for your flexibility as we continue to sort of refine our process and make sure you have the information you need, and raising questions to ensure clarity of what we're communicating out. So I just want to take a quick chance to say thank you for a very busy year, and very productive.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks. If we had public participants, I would offer them an opportunity to participate or comment. We do not at this time, so we won't do that. And Dr. Yannicone and I will work over the summer to identify sort of our schedule for next year. I am confident we will see all of you in either August or September with things that I haven't even imagined yet that we need to talk about going into the new school year. But for now, we'll just celebrate wrapping up a very successful 25-26 and with great gratitude. And we will continue to do our virtual hybrid meetings again next year, or virtual meetings again next year. Dr. Yannicone, anything you'd like to add before we conclude?
Not at all. Thank you very much.
I'd like it noted, it is 4:42 and we have completed the agenda. Mrs. Bell, all for you. Everyone have a great rest of your afternoon and please enjoy the sunshine. And thanks, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, you all.